I'm trying to figure out how to not
Oh,
see
we
the
went
video.
auto live. All right, well, let's do the show. Here we go. Hi everyone, you're getting behind the scenes if you're hearing this because auto live was turned on and we didn't start it on the hold. So, let's start an episode of Office Hours. All right, so the first thing,
Awesome.
one,
That's great.
the auto start has somehow been on for these shows, and I need to check it now because it just goes. Two, you can notice over there that it is not Nick Longo. It is like you've got Nick vibes though. Like you've got a little bit of Nick.
We can only aspire to be Nick Longo.
It's true. Shame on Otto, says chat. Yes, OTTO. Yes, there is a bug and his name is Otto and he gets into the show. So this is Office Hours and this is our friend Vic. Excuse me. I'm dead. Introduce yourself.
Oh, wow.
I'm
This is how
smashing
the,
your first
the
name and
rest of
last
the hour
name.
is going to go.
Okay, no, we're good. Everyone's okay. Everybody's okay. Hold on. All right. Welcome to Office Hours. All right, introduce yourself over there. Who are you? You're not Nick Longo.
Hi, everyone. My name is Victor Davila. I'm an associate professor at the University of Central Florida, and I am hailing from Orlando, Florida.
Orlando.
Orlando.
So tell us a little bit about you. What do you do? What do you enjoy doing? How are you connected to design? Why are you on the show?
Well, I'm on the show because you and I go way back when we hang out at Creative South. My day job, as I mentioned, is an associate professor at UCF in Orlando, Florida. I'm a designer illustrator. I'm also involved in the community quite a bit. So I'm an Adobe education leader. I'm an affiliated faculty for Limbitless Solutions. I am on the national board of AIGA, and I am the host of Creative Mornings Orlando. And I have my own group here in Orlando called Giant Illustrators.
There we go. What Victor's trying to say is Victor is your new dad. That's the truth. You're creative. He is your father now. He's adopting us here in the creative community. So if you haven't joined
Welcome
Office
to the
Hours
fold.
before, yes. Office Hours is a show where we help you level up your creative careers. Usually it's our friend Nick Longo. Today we have a very special guest. And today we are going to be talking about something that is near and dear to both of our hearts, I think. I actually think that we both are very familiar and intentional with our theme. And today's theme is purpose. We're going to talk today about finding your purpose. We're going to talk about having a purpose. We're going to talk about brands with purpose. We'll also talk about brands that tried to have a purpose and changed it and it didn't work out so well. Y'all love when we throw shade. So we're going to get real spicy in chat. As always, if you have suggestions, if you have brands with purpose, if you have a purpose that you're passionate about, let us know in the chat so that we can incorporate it into the show. And Victor, can you do the honors of just doing this? There we go. If you want to join our Discord, you can do that. Discord.gg/ACC is where you can get involved. And Chris is saying, weren't you guys on Twitch for a while? Yes, we were on Twitch for a few weeks, a few months. We're back on YouTube. Hi, we're back on YouTube. We'll be here for the foreseeable future and maybe for forever. We're like growing up together, which is kind of fun. We've been doing this for 3 years, so.
Wow.
I know.
I also want to point out that Nick Longo is on the chat.
Oh yes,
So
Nick is here.
I feel like afterwards he's going to send me like a whole email of notes.
Yes,
of how to
what he's doing.
improve, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yes, absolutely.
So please do, Nick.
Yes, please do, Nick. So we are going to go ahead and start with a segment that we like to call Trendworthy. And I want to talk about something very specific that is a trend across the board. Let's cut to our fun transition for our segment called Trendworthy. Trending. Okay, so Trendworthy. Let's talk about this trend that I keep seeing. And I'm going to call this like, I don't know, like I want to call this like wide brim hat, long cardigan, girl wear. Like it's this aesthetic that's very pastel. And I just feel like you're wearing like a flowy cardigan with like a big hat. And then everything in your fridge in your house is like the exact same tones across the board. And I keep seeing this in a bunch of different things. So we've got Quilted Northern here. We've got Spindrift here. Very similar, same thing. We're looking at makeup here. Also same thing. We're looking at Target candles. Also, same thing. I feel like there is an aesthetic and a trend happening here. Nick. Oh, just know.
It's all right.
I am going to call
I
you
will
Nick
answer to
100 times during the show because my brain is just going to think that way.
I'm totally here for it.
Okay, cool.
So it's funny too that the examples, especially the early examples, that you have not only the color but also the way that the color is laid out. So it's like these bars of colors with like overlapping elements to it. So it's not just kind of like like the first ones and the second one that you showed.
Yep. It is very like it is the same aesthetic across the board, and I think it's so interesting that it falls into a certain like audience that I think it's marketing to, right? So these are sparkling waters, and there's one of these that is a like alcoholic version that's like a seltzer or whatever that's like the exact same design, and I'm sure that Nick could call it out, but I think that like this aesthetic is so interesting, and it's to me really interesting that Quilted Northern went with this. This doesn't feel on brand for me for Quilted Northern.
It doesn't have the same. I just saw this for the first time today, so I haven't really kind of like dove deep into it, but it doesn't seem to have like the same kind of like warmth and approachability that the original packaging has.
Yeah, and like I feel like it's too cozy for a toilet paper. Like it feels cozy, and I'm like, I don't know if like coziness is necessarily the vibe, especially with this like tan in the background. It makes me feel like I'm buying a blanket, and I'm like Quilted Northern. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to buy a blanket. I just need toilet paper. So yeah, I think this is an interesting use case, but I think this is the trend across the board that I keep seeing in a lot of these different things is this pastel. So be on the lookout. Pastels as a trend. We're here for that. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about our purpose today. Purpose.
Can I talk a little bit more about trends real quick?
Oh, you can talk about whatever you want. Victor, this show is off the rails and there are no rules. So if at any point you want to talk about literally anything, you can do that.
Have we already gone off the rails, or is it?
No, the rails are, we're still here.
We're still on the rails.
Yes.
Cool. The point I want to make about trends, and it's something I tell my students quite a bit, is that the trends, it's the whole pendulum. So at some point things were overly designed with bevels and drop shadows, and so the pendulum at some point went to flat design, and at some point it's going to come back. So I always kind of remember the Wayne Gretzky, the hockey player, the great hockey player. He had this saying that says like, don't go where the puck is, go where the puck is going to go, or where it's going to be later, right?
Yep.
So it's also the same thing with trends, that you want to be careful with trends, because you want to make sure, especially when you're working with a long-term project with clients, that you are not just reacting to current trends, that you're trying to watch where that pendulum is going and try to find out where the pendulum is going to be, especially by the time you launch.
Yep. And here we go. Hard seltzers. The same. The same. The same. The same. The same, like the same. It is all that like bar, same with Vizzy right here. It is all that bar with the type above it in the kind of some sort of pastel-y tropical fun. Like this is such an oversaturated style that I think like even looking at this, these are like all the same can. Like if you look at it from a perspective of just composition, it is the same. And so I think that's really interesting. White Claw on the back, exact same as well. That it really is a trend that I think is kind of boring, right?
Yeah. If Nick were here, I'd ask him, since he's like the packaging master.
Yes.
I'd ask him where's the line between trying to make sure that things stay within the family of products, the recognizability of products, and how do you better make them stand out?
Yeah. And I have a question for you, chat, and maybe for you, Victor. Who set this? I think it's interesting when a trend like this happens that everyone starts copying. Who is the one that did this style, that did this look, that it then like saturated the industry? And I do think that it started with seltzers. Like that's the first time that I had seen that style really. And so I'm interested to see who you think started that. I would put it on Target. That like might not be a seltzer, but it feels very Target-y, that threshold line that I was looking at. But chat, if you have a suggestion, who do you think started this? Victor, do you have a take on it?
I think the Target idea is a pretty good one, just because Target is so kind of ubiquitous.
Yep.
And I know here in town we got Publix, which has a lot of things sometimes with with these pastels as well in Orlando. If you come to Florida, Publix is awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. Maybe one of those big old stores that a lot of people just have access to.
Yep. Somebody said filing machines. Yes. The original is the bands that they put around the stacks of dollar bills. That's what it is. A little wrap. Okay, let's talk about purpose a little bit. And we're going to hop in here. We're going to show you some brands that have purpose. And again, today, our theme for the episode is purpose. And we're going to ask a bunch of questions about how to find your purpose, what is purpose, all of that. But I want to take a look at one in particular that Adobe just put an article out about that, chat, guess what I have for you? It's a link. Look at that. What a blessing. Wade will post that link so that you guys can click on it. And Victor, this is an organization that is near and dear to your heart as well. Can you tell us a little bit about Limbitless?
Absolutely. Limbitless is a great nonprofit that is based out of the University of Central Florida in Orlando. I've had the honor of working with them as a affiliated faculty for the last few years. And as you can see, as Andrew just scrolled back, we gained a little bit of viral with this video right here, with the Robert Downey Jr. Video presenting a bionic arm to a child with a limb difference. And it started off with the guys who started it. I bet Albert, John, Dominique, all of them, they started they're engineers, they're rocket scientists, literal rocket scientists. And they decided to start this organization that devotes its time to creating bionic arms to children with limb differences. So they do amazing work. And one of the cool things about Limbitless too is that it's a collaboration amongst many different parts of the university. So you'll see a lot of, in the universities, a lot of times you'll see very siloed areas. You know, the engineers stay over there, artists stay over there, mathematicians stay over there, PR stays over there. But Limbitless is one of the few places that actually brings everyone together for a common goal to create really, really amazing things. And it's kind of like that Pixar saying that the art influences the technology, and then the technology influences the art. So I'm just honored to be able to be affiliated with them.
It's really cool.
The great work they do.
Yeah, it's really cool. So this article is about how they help envision kind of their pieces with AI, right? Then maybe they're presenting them a little bit differently. They're using Firefly to incorporate stuff. And I actually love this use case, is that they're taking a photo of this kind of chrome arm, and you can see the photographer here. And then it looks like they've used generative fill over here to remove the photographer, which is just, for me, the best use of Firefly and generative fill is the ability to like remove things. Cause that would be so hard trying to mask that and repaint that in. And so generative fill, like I love it for like generating images, whatever. That's what I want it for, is to be able to like remove things from a photo, especially Chrome, because there's like no way that you could get this photographer out of there. That would be so difficult if you were doing it manually. So this is really cool. And then again, they're kind of just enhancing their stories of putting butterflies, flowers. This is all using generative fill, which is really cool to kind of help to tell that story, right? Starting with this photo, but then really building it out to help serve kind of the brand purpose and to help tell those stories of these prosthetic limbs, which is really cool.
Yeah, early on, our first limbs that we had, or that they had, it was before I joined them, was very kind of like they were trying to emulate a human arm. And the feedback that we got from the children is like, no, they want to stand out. They want something that looks like a robot or water themed or whatever. So to your point, using the AI powered elements really helps bring that story and really sells that idea of helping the kids stand out. Matt Dombrowski is our creative director over there, and Adobe has been a great partner with us at Limbitless Solutions. So Matt's really embraced all Adobe has had to offer and really being able to tell that story that we have to tell. And it's an important story.
Yep. So that's a good example. There are some times that brands lose sight of their purpose. And so we're going to investigate a little bit about how to find that and how to discover and keep a brand on their purpose. But let's first take a look at some of these brands that maybe lost their purpose a little bit and forgot what they were going for. The first one I want to talk about, Sunchips. And I think Sunchips is a great example that like they tried. Victor, when you think of Sunchips, what kind of like words come to mind for the Sunchips brand?
Natural, organic, good for you, earth, all that stuff.
Yes. So I think this is an example of when you go too hard into your brand purpose and have to shift back. So if anyone remembers Sunchips, I think it was probably like 5 or 6 years ago, they decided to further that message, right? Of that kind of aesthetic of being conscious, of being, you know, from the earth for the earth kind of thing. And they made these bags that were 100% compostable. And the stat on this is that they launched these and they were so loud that people stopped buying them. There were professors, I remember, that were banning Sunchips from being eaten in class because the bags were so loud. And it saw a drop in sales by 11% from these compostable bags. And so I think this is an interesting use case, right? Then we talk about brand purpose. This is on purpose for them. This is a great move for their brand purpose, but I think there is an extra purpose that is overarching with a brand like this, is like, we're trying to sell chips, right? We're trying to like get people to eat our chips, and it puts them off if the bag sounds like a car that's driving by. What do you think about
them? I hope they try again.
I do too. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a very commendable idea. It's an awesome kind of idea. They can just get past the sound one. I hope they don't give up on this. I think this is going to be really cool. And they could be leaders, you know, like if they persevere, they could be leaders in this kind of packaging.
Yep.
So, but yeah, 11% is
11%. So the next one that I think is not a valiant effort, was maybe a misguided effort where they lost sight of their brand purpose. Quickster. Chat, does anyone remember Quickster? Do any of you remember Quickster? Because, Nick, do you remember or know what Quickster was? This happened a couple of years ago. This is a pretty recent one.
So I do remember Quickster. And it's funny because the first thing when it launched, the first thing I thought about was like, why are they calling it a totally different name? Why not just keep it Netflix with the DVDs and things like that? But yeah, I do remember. And I guess, I don't know, this didn't last very long, did it?
I don't even know if this launched. I think that they announced it and it was going to be a thing and there was no demand. And so I'm not fully confident that this was a real thing that actually launched. So for those of you that don't have the context, this was a service that Netflix was going to offer that took things back to DVD. It was like, oh, if you don't want to do streaming, you can still do DVDs with Quickster. It was in 2011. So it was, 12 years ago, I guess? Oh, that's a long time. So they started doing that it was not Netflix. It was a mail-in service for you to get DVDs. And people thought that it was turning into the next MySpace. There's a quote on this article that I'm reading that basically said people were unhappy and they were like, if you guys keep doing this, you're just going to turn into MySpace where you're trying to do a bunch of things and then it crashes and burns. So this is a great example of losing brand purpose, because with something like this is probably expensive, right? This is super expensive to launch. This didn't even last a month. It was closed before 1 month.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
But don't they still do DVDs though?
I don't think so. Maybe. I don't think Netflix, I think they shut down the DVD service and I think it's just a streaming service now.
Okay.
But with the shift from DVDs to streaming, that's a big shift in purpose. And I think they had a clear purpose of what they wanted to do, is they wanted to deliver content directly to people. And Netflix changed the game for a lot of like the industry in general, which is again why the writers are striking. But it changed the industry in a huge way. And then they were the leaders in changing that industry and then said, okay, we're the leaders in changing the industry. What if the industry that we've created is exactly the same as the one that was in the past, right? And it's like, wait, why would you go backwards? That doesn't make sense. And yeah, someone's saying that it stopped this year.
Oh, the DVDs in general stopped this year?
Yes. Yeah. So they shut it down. But Quickster is a great example of what not to do. Please don't emulate Quickster. All right. So with that, we are going to talk a little bit about investigating how to find your purpose. And I think this is something that is good for us as creatives to find what is a purpose for us and how can we take that to clients. Victor, do you know or have you investigated your purpose as a creative, as an educator? Do you have any insight on that, of what you've landed in?
So, since my day job is teaching and I have so much interaction with students, it seems like the way I consider it, it seems like all my other services, whether it's AIGA, Creative Mornings, Giants, is all tied in together with the growth of the community. So my purpose, even outside of my design, because it seems I spend a little bit more of my time on the community stuff than I do in my own practice, is all community based. Even with Creative South, when we go up to Creative South, portfolio reviews, all that stuff. So I think my purpose is trying to bring people together and shine spotlights on communities that might not necessarily have those spotlights shine on them.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that I'm similar. I like to build and cultivate communities. I like to create places for people to kind of make whatever they want. So I love creating a space for communities to pour into and to grow. And so let's talk a little bit about how to find your purpose. This is kind of just a list of questions, things to investigate in chat. If you have answers to these, please feel free to drop them into chat right now. If you want to think about it, you can drop it down to our discord.gg/ACC. If you want to grab a screenshot of these questions, this would be great homework for you to kind of work through and process through. And I'm sure somebody can grab a screenshot and drop it in our Discord for us. But these are some questions. And let's just run a little exercise here, Vic. I never call you Vic and it feels weird.
It's all right.
What are you passionate about? Let's try to discover your purpose here. What are you passionate about, Victor?
Oh, I'm answering these questions?
Yes, these are for you.
I'm passionate about creativity. I'm passionate about innovation. And I'm passionate about, like I said before, community.
I love that. Okay, so we have those things. Of those things, or maybe in complement to those things, what do you think are some of your strengths as a person?
So I think I've done a fairly decent job trying to build events that bring people together. I think I don't know if I'm good at it, but I enjoy trying to connect people, whether it's a student with a potential employer, or whether it's two designers that are looking for collaboration and they want to do something really, really cool.
I love that. So do you have any causes that you are passionate about? Or you kind of said this, you're passionate about community, all that kind of stuff. What can you do with how you're positioned in life to help that cause, the causes that you were passionate about?
So obviously, I've joined the boards of AIGA and Creative Mornings and things like that, and Creative South. I have some connection with Creative South as well. But one of the things that my first organization was Giant Illustrators. And the reason I did that is because I always feel like if you can't find, somewhere out there is your community. Sometimes you can find it in a group.
That's a good quote.
Yeah. So sometimes you can find it in a group that already exists, but I'm a big believer that if you can't find that group, then you just make it your own. Because I guarantee that if you're kind of like in front of your computer, frustrated about something, trying to find someone or a community that fits you because of A, B, and C, there's a high likelihood that somebody else is having the same thoughts.
Yep.
So build your own community if you can't find yours.
Yep.
Like if you can't find one already existing.
And that's a great question at the end. Can you join in on someone else? I think this is just a great point in a conversation to have, that if you are passionate about something, if you're looking to kind of live out this purpose that you're discovering, you don't have to do it from scratch and you don't have to do it on your own. Sometimes other people have already set that up for you. They like Creative Mornings, right? You're like, oh, I'm so passionate about like creativity and inspiring people. I'm going to start a meetup that's local, that is in the mornings, that's for creatives. And it's like, there's a huge network for you to get involved with. Go find something that you're passionate about that is set up. Or if you need to, you can start your own thing. I would say that like 90% of the things that people are passionate about, other people are passionate about, and there is somewhere for you to join with them.
I agree. I totally agree. And sometimes we talk ourselves out of doing it and we just don't do it.
Yes. So let's talk real quick. And I want to talk about, I'm just going to scroll. We were scrolling through slides, but I'm just going to give you this. Let's talk about kind of how to do this with a brand. So if Andrew, pull it together. All right, hold on. There we go. So let's talk about this. When I do brand exercises with a brand, I always try to find what is the brand voice, right? And this helps you find the purpose of the brand, kind of a specific thing that you can hone in on for that brand. And I'm actually going to pull up a project that I worked on. Chat, you've seen this project so many times, and it's the example that I use for like everything just because it's on the top of my mind. It was for a church that I worked for up north in Sacramento. Let me grab it real quick, and let's grab the... Actually, let's do a couple things. I'll kind of take you through the process of discovering how to understand the purpose of what this brand is going to be, and then I will show you the final of what the brand looked like. 1 second, let me get...
I really love your Arthur hat. And
Thank
the fact
you.
that Arthur has like that fist clenched just kind of makes me wonder what's going on with him, because he's usually so friendly and chill. But,
Oh no, he's angry.
but it's very recognizable. It's like immediately Arthur.
Yes. Okay, cool. So there are a couple things that I want to take a look at over here. One, this is something that I do with the client, is I almost have a this or that, and I send out a survey to understand what is the purpose, because I think there are a lot of opinions on the purpose. And so I sent out this survey, and I was trying to differentiate what does the core executive team think is the purpose, and then what does the general staff think is the purpose. And so this is great this or that of key invite concepts. We're all about community. We're aligned on that. That is a core value of the purpose of this organization, right? The big one that we were on kind of different sides is the executives thought that it was new people, and the staff thought that they were catering toward families, right? So this is how you start to identify the values and the purpose of this company. Is like, oh, we're looking to reach out to new families, like, or new people. No, we're looking to reach out to families. It's like, okay, what is the actual answer? What is the elevator pitch? So this is, I asked the staff, what are some quotes? And these are, again, that back and forth to help find the purpose. Lakeside happens, and the options were like in the community, in the building, within a small group of friends, and everyone said in the community and on the weekends, right? So that's a great idea and a great way to understand the purpose. The key takeaway from here, the key takeaway is more than church culture, way of engaging with those around you. So this is how I'm finding the purpose, right? That I ask a question, and then because it is identified on that, here is now the purpose statement. It's a community that lives together during the week and comes together on the weekends. And then a question, how do we expand and communicate this culture? So here, personality profiles. I always give them celebrities to understand kind of just what is the vibe. And so the executive team picked Hilary Swank, and the staff picked Jimmy Fallon, right? So the staff is leaning more into that fun, boisterous, and the executive team is thinking that maybe we're a little more refined, we're a little more poised. And so that helps inform the purpose as well. Personality profile. These are all things that you can build out to help understand that purpose. Cultured, refined, mature, easygoing, trustworthy, happy, understanding, warm. And this was picked from a list of like 60 different terms for them to pick out those key objectives in there. These are all of the different networks. I'm going to kind of scroll through some of this. We get into the why. This is very, very important, is the why. Like, why does any of this matter? And the perception is that it's stale because they've been around for so long. There isn't any evidence they are moving or evolving. And the perception is the reality, right? So maybe now some part of that purpose is to change that perception. And that's where we land here to figure out the goals, right? The purpose of this rebrand. We need to establish a visual language. We need to define and communicate core values, increase attendance and giving, shift the demographics, and we need to standardize across the board. So this is a really good exercise to understand the purpose.
So I have a couple questions, Andrew.
Yes, Victor, please.
Ultimately, after the whole project was done, did they lean a little bit more on Hilary Swank, or were they Jimmy Fallon, or were they a boisterous Hilary Swank? Or what celebrity did they ultimately land on?
They landed on Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, okay. They definitely landed on Jimmy Fallon. And what I do is I do a lot more investigation to figure out the purpose and how they communicate. And so I always put something in the What is chat laughing about? Sorry, chat is having a lot of LOLs and I can't figure out what it is.
What I do?
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. Sorry, chat's being spicy about something. Chat, calm down. Okay, I had to like track back all of the messages that are happening. Okay, so let's talk here about, this is their brand standard manual. And the brand standard manual is 35 pages. So it's a lot of information. And again, this helps you understand that purpose. And I always start out with the voice and tone. And this is how you understand how your brand communicates. And here's the purpose. The voice is warm and welcoming. It's a friend that genuinely cares about the community around them, open, honest, but not overwhelming. It should be used when referring to anything within Lakeside. Those are just terms. And when communicating, use condensed information as much as possible. And this is the chart that I want to show you that is the important part of finding your process with a brand. So I think that most times we see people doing a brand exercise, they are just looking at what this is. They're literally just saying like, oh, sorry, chat is having a side conversation. I'm trying to track with them as I talk. Y'all need to calm down. We love having you here live on the chat. But I and somebody said, stay focused, Andrew. And that made me more unfocused. Okay. It's very important to just have the yes and the no. So Victor, if you've ever done branding and you've ever looked before, you've probably seen a lot of brand values. How often do you see non-brand values communicated?
I mean, in a full brand book, very rarely. If it's thought out and if it's like thought out and thought about, then you have to have it.
Yep. And I think that approach very much goes to like the shoot for the stars, or like, what is it? Shoot for the moon and you'll land among the stars or whatever, that they have an idea, right? That they say, oh, our brand is this. And it's a very open concept that if you start going toward that, you might miss it and then just land somewhere way too far. And so being able to define what it is and what it isn't is really good. So here we are friendly, but not overbearing. We are direct, but not confrontational, right? And you can see how we're setting parameters. Authentic, but not matter of fact. We're relaxed, but not flippant, right? That's a good example to understand the purpose that we're chill, but not so chill that it feels like we don't care. Communicative, but not wordy. That's another good one. Unified, but not identical. Actionable, but not suggestive. Conversational, not informational, right? And so having those different kind of guides on what a brand purpose is so helpful. And all of this boils down to a brand purpose statement. And that is right here, a place for you, right? That is the purpose, is that we are building a place for you. And that rolls out different areas, place wherever you are, place wherever you are. Community is where you make it, is another big one that we're finding. That purpose is community. It is for building something for you. So this is a great example of how to find a brand purpose.
So Andrew,
yes,
this is a fairly large church, and you said that you spoke with the executives and the staff separately. They had their own ideas, and you eventually had this process to kind of bring everybody together and find a cohesive brand purpose, right? Have you ever had a company who didn't know what their purpose was at all? Maybe it's a smaller organization, and how do you tackle that? Do you tackle that with the same process to land to where that's going?
Yep, pretty much exact same process. And it is a whole bunch of questions. And actually, chat, guess what? I'm gonna see if I can find this real quick, and if I can find it, you're just gonna have it so that you can use it if you want. It is an intake form that I use. Oops. No. Sorry, I'm trying to get to Google Forms. It is a Google form that I send out. And this would be something if they're like, we don't really know what we want to do. I use it to help understand them and help kind of get more information. Here's the one that I used. This is specific for the this client, but this is the idea. So I'll send this out, and you can see I have 27 responses here. So tell me about your company. What does the name of your company do for you? And then we start to understand this company does which of these things, right? The average consumer of this company is which of these things. This company is all of these terms. So this is a bunch of terms for them to scroll through and check. And that helps me understand. So you can see it's passionate, cool, stale, rigid, feminine, masculine, cautious, right? That it's helping me understand what their brand, and that helps me find that purpose to help communicate to them. And I love this. So we're identifying this organization is blank. And then for the team, I wish this organization was more blank. And that's really going to help us find that purpose for the rebrand, because if I get to a point where the client is just like, oh, we just want to rebrand. And I'm like, okay, what's the purpose of this? Why is there any purpose that we're working toward with this rebrand? And they're like, oh, we just like want it to look new. I'm like, I'm not interested in doing it. Like, I need to know that we are working toward a specific purpose and that there is an end goal, because if you get stuck and you don't have a purpose for what you're doing, it's just going to be busy work and it's not going to turn out well. And someone's saying, did you create this from scratch? I did. So when you are thinking of your business, what colors come to mind? Would you invite a friend to be a part of your business? What would you think? What would be the first thing that you talk about when inviting a friend to interact with your business? This is kind of specific because it is a place that people meet. And then here we have, if your business was a public figure, who would it be? So we have George Clooney, Hilary Swank, Greta Thunberg, Meghan Markle, Idris Elba, Anthony Bourdain, Sarah Bareilles, James Corden, and Jimmy Fallon, right? And so you can kind of see that there are unique personalities to each of these that if you don't understand, or if the non-creative, right? Maybe you're working with executives and they don't know how to communicate here and what to check, but they do know like, oh man, I want my business to like be like George Clooney. It's like, you know, just George Clooney. I'm like, cool. We understand the vibe and aesthetic of George Clooney. I can use that to help you find your purpose now, right? And the way that we communicate that. Then we go, why does it need a rebrand? Right? This is a great one. And then, are there any visual or cultural aspects that are off limits to changing with your business? This is usually a big one. If there is a key thing within the existing brand and you're doing a rebrand, I always ask, what are the things I can't touch? Because if I change something that is off limits, everybody's going to not be on my side, and I need to make sure I keep you on my side the entire process, right? And without knowing it, I could step on some toes and then we're in trouble. Hey, Colby.
Hey, what's up, Colby?
So, okay, I think, hold on.
By the way,
Yes.
Andrew has a great series of videos where he goes through this project. It's in Adobe Live, right? It's somewhere like in your video history?
It is. Yes, it is in my videos. I'm trying to find the Quilted Northern, the old Quilted Northern brand. And I'd be interested to see if it's apparent the purpose of why they changed. Interesting. I don't think that I would have remembered. This is a Quilted Northern brand. I think that this is what it was. So they didn't change it that much, but for some reason I feel like it's a huge change. It's
that Q. It's that big Q made out of smaller elements that almost looks I don't know. It just doesn't seem to have like the same vibe.
Yep. So,
and I can't quite put my finger on what it is.
Yes, I think that this is a great example of what is off limits. I think it's the quilted stitching. Like that they're probably like, we can change whatever we want, but we have to have this stitching like everywhere. Oh, actually, hold on. Okay, they still got the stitching, it's just less, but I think that that was probably the non-negotiable for them, is that stitching, because it is like the Quilted Northern, that I'm guessing they're like, all right, we can change everything, but we want to keep the stitching element of the brand. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's build something. We've got about 15 minutes here, and so let's try to build over in Adobe Express. Let's do a maybe like a social media post with purpose. And Victor, what do we have? What would be a purpose that we are passionate about? We want to create maybe a social media post, or chat. If you have a suggestion, what would you be passionate about?
I like that idea. Let's see what chat has to say first.
Yes, I'm very This has been sitting out all day. I'm going to drink this. It's like 1 o'clock. I definitely got this at like 8. So good luck, chat. Chat, let us know if you have any suggestions.
I'm squeezing Charmin.
And while we do that, I'm actually going to come over here into the Adobe Express Beta. And you can go to Adobe Express, new.adobeexpress.com. And we can go to, new.express.adobe.com. My goodness. And we are going to search templates. And here I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to do purpose and see what comes up. So we've got some with key goals. We've got a lot of environmental kind of stuff. This graphic is just really cool. I think this is generally pretty cool. Positivity, happiness, well-being. We've got chat saying dogs, music, education, beating the
Someone
heat.
says beating the heat, I think, is definitely topical in Florida.
Oh, that's true. Okay, let's talk about food. I think let's talk about maybe well-being. So up here, let's talk about like a holistic well-being, like mental health, all that kind of stuff. So maybe here,
mental health is great. Yeah.
Let's type in mental health. And check it out. There's already a whole bunch of templates that we can get started with and that we can work on. This feels very intense, but there's a lot that we can work with. And I actually love this illustration. I think it's a really cool illustration. So all we need to do is click on that and it's going to bring this up. It looks like this is, what is this? What is this size? I don't know what size this is for, but we want to make it for Instagram maybe. Let's do Instagram story. So all I need to do is go to Instagram story and click on resize. And it's resized. I was not paying attention and just resized it for us, which is really cool.
Yeah, it got wider.
It got wider. Okay. So we're going to ungroup all these things and see what elements we have. So here it looks like this is a graphic on its own, which is good. I maybe don't want the music note, so maybe we move it to the side. Let's move this down here to maybe have, actually, I think I just like this illustration, but it doesn't really work for mental health, right?
Right. I agree.
All right. So what's cool is we can come over here to our templates on the side and just type in mental health again, and see if there's anything. I like some of the ones at the top.
So Andrew, if I like the illustration on one, but the layout on the other, do I open one, copy the illustration and go to the next one and paste it? Is that
yes, we definitely could do that. 100%. Let's do one of these ones at the top. I think this is kind of cool. All right, so we're gonna actually let's add it as a page. So we can add as a page, and now we have all of these really cool kind of like blobs. And with the little arrow, we can go back and forth. And so if we did like this, I could Control C to copy and then Control V and paste it over here, which is pretty cool. And if I wanted to maybe change the colors, I could come over here and do a filter. So we can go to effects and then we could do a duotone. And let's see if we can change the colors. Let's do this like dark purple and let's grab the blue. Blue. Oops, what am I doing? Oh my goodness. Where's my eyedropper? There we go. So we want this to be pink. And the shadows we want, and then the highlights we want to be this blue. Okay, maybe we want to reverse that and make these shadows darker. So let's go.
Can you hit the little arrows between the colors to reverse them?
Yes. Okay, that looks fine to me. So we're going to leave that there. And I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit, just Control minus. And let's put this down in the side. And then maybe we can use this for like, hey, what things do you want to do? So these are grouped here. And I don't necessarily want them all. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to just delete some of these. This is behind it. And this, nope. Where's the other one? I want this one. All right, we'll delete that. All right, so now we have some of these. And listen to music is a good one. And then maybe we want to exercise. So what we can do is we can find a cool illustration by going to media, and then let's do exercise illustration. These are all photos. Let's go to elements and see if we can find anything in here. That's usually where illustrations live. Okay, we've got some stuff in here. I'm not mad about this one. We're definitely like switching illustration styles, which is fine. And I'm gonna apply that same effect that we had and go to the effects, do that duotone with the custom, and then we will change those shadows and highlights again. Blue here, right? Yeah. These people can exercise. Ooh. Let's move this over here. So it's very similar to working in Illustrator if you're familiar with it. You can kind of just drag and drop boxes into different places. Okay, we're going somewhere. Say no. Victor, why did you say no? How does that help our mental health?
Because sometimes you say yes to everything and suddenly you have 15 deadlines that you have to
Victor, get out of my life. Okay, daily stress busters. Love that. So yes, let's say no. And maybe up here we can get some kind of like cross through or something. What element should we have for say no? Or should we change it to something else?
Could we do a search for the word no in the
Let's see what happens.
in the thing?
All right, I'm gonna try to just resize this a little bit so that we can fit it up in the side. All right, so we've got that there, and oopsies. I definitely want to see if I can fit this up here, and that means maybe this little guy goes somewhere else, or maybe just gets deleted. Ah! Uh-oh. All right, let's do that. Sure, why not? Actually, is there another piece?
There was like a grid or something in front of it.
There was. I'm not fully confident or sure about how they are doing, how this is set up. Okay, we have that in there. Let's figure out something for say no. We can literally just type in no. Yep, it's a lot of this kind of stuff. No.
Is there...
Let's do something different than say no. Maybe let's say relax. I think that's a good little extra one. Elements, see, relax. Oh, type say no. Let's see what happens.
That's random.
Talk to the hand.
Maybe a wagging finger.
I do like this actually, this little swatch right here. I like this as an element. A little swashy. I'm not sure. Okay. Relax. I don't know why this is grouped. Let's ungroup those things. There we go. Group those. Relax. How do we want to relax?
Laying down, kind of with arms behind your head type of thing.
Oh, like somebody like just chilling out? Maybe we do like a person on the couch. So let's type in relax, see what happens. This is the answer. The raccoon on the tree.
The raccoon on the branch, yeah.
Oh, this is good. Okay, I like this one. Feels like he's relaxing. Same thing here. Let's go ahead and apply that adjustment. Oops. Let's apply that effect. Do custom duotone.
Can you save your effects so we don't have to look for the colors each time?
I don't believe so. I know that that's like a requested feature, so it may be on the docket of things coming, but it is not currently available. Okay, let's go ahead and do a couple more sizes of this because I think it would just be helpful. I also don't know what to do about this. Okay, let's do this. Let's duplicate this. And then I can kind of rotate it and pull it down here. Yes. Okay. Oh no, it's not even a full object. Okay, it is. Hold on.
I think that gridded piece is kind of like cropping it maybe.
Okay, we got it. It does have a weird crop on it, and I don't understand what's happening with that crop. Can add a bit of trees. Ooh, forest. Okay, so we have a graphic here. Let's go ahead and resize this to do, let's do an Instagram story. So I can click here and then I hit duplicate and resize. So it's gonna keep this size and then it's gonna duplicate it. Let's also do an Instagram square post. Duplicate and resize. Check it out. It is duplicated and resized. And so now all I need to do is come in here and I can like just move pieces around. So I needed to ungroup that. But now I can come up here and maybe let's do this. Maybe it gets a little bit bigger. So this is the magic. I wish that we had this in other programs because it is really helpful to be able to kind of just move things around and resize and then just fix it and not have to like do it completely over. All right, this guy can go up here. And actually, before I do this, I do want to show you one more thing. Actually, we don't have time, but we're gonna animate this real quick just so I can show you that as a feature here in Adobe Express. Let's listen to music. Oops. Move that around. I do know that there is talk as well to be able to lock objects because you do run into times that like things are overlapping. And so I do know that there have been conversations about that as a feature. Let's do this there. Let's do this over here. And then this can maybe come over here. We'll rotate it a little bit so that it fits in there. Okay, not bad. I think this can probably come over here. Actually, we need a purple one. So let's grab this one and let's duplicate it. And then we will bring that down over here. Cool, right there. All right, so now we're going to animate some of these people in. Let's go to the animation and we'll go in and let's go ahead and have them grow. I think that's pretty cool. This one can maybe do a rise. So we'll go over here. We just select the object, go to animation, go in, and let's have them drift in. I think that's pretty cool. Let's have her spin. No. Rise? Yeah. Okay, what's cool now is I'm actually going to set these real quick and do a little tumble because I think the tumble is fine. Tumble, we can select that direction. And then this one, we are just going to have maybe drop in. All right, so now when I play this, check it out. Pretty cool, right?
That's awesome.
It's so quick and it's so easy. And then we can go in and we can change, we can click on show layer timing. And now we can retime all of these things so that maybe they pop in at different random times, right? So maybe our illustrations come in first. Actually, let's bring this one in there. This one can come over here. And then this guy can maybe come in over here. So those are just random timings, but watch what happens now. Like it's a pretty dynamic graphic, which is cool.
That's really cool.
Oh, somebody asking, is lock on there to the left? Lock object. It is. It made it. Okay. That's good to know. Okay. So yes, you can lock objects. I couldn't say anything. So this is a confession. I know things that like I can't talk about on stream. And so when you guys ask questions that I'm like not sure if it's an answer or if it's been released yet, I just dodge it. So yes, you can lock objects. It is actually been implemented already. So if we did run into an issue that we want to get the relax, we can lock this guy here and then we can grab the relax and move it around. So it is possible. It is a feature that exists, which is pretty cool.
So is this version of Express the one that's available to everybody?
This is so new.express.adobe.com is the place to work with the Adobe Express Beta. If you want more information and you want to hang out with us, next Wednesday, the 16th, we are doing an all-day stream all about Adobe Express. So you can come join us for that, which will be really fun. We have a bunch of industry professionals coming in to show you all of the stuff that will be in Adobe Express, which is really cool. So we will see you next Wednesday we won't see you. Actually, that's a note. We won't see you next Wednesday. We don't have an episode of Office Hours because we will be doing Adobe Express all day next Wednesday. So we won't see you, but we'll see you the week after. And Nick is not your name. Vic, do you have any advice for us?
We've only known each other for like a million years.
I'm so used to saying Nick. For like 3 years. What's your advice to creatives who are trying to find their purpose?
So I'm not a believer in spec work, so don't do spec work.
Yep.
It affects the industry as a whole, but I do believe in pro bono work, and I think you can find nonprofits that align with your value, that you really support, really believe in what you're doing, and go up to them and offer them design works. Maybe you can help them out in some way. It's also a really good way to pad your portfolio, to add a lot of really cool things in your portfolio that you might not necessarily have, and you'll be helping an organization that you feel strongly about that might be doing the good work.
Yep. So thanks for joining us. We won't see you next week, but we'll see you the week after. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Of course.